Is the DJI Mini 2 still worth it in 2022? Let's talk about it.
Find me the boy. Maybe next time.
Don't ask me about the ending. We did it in about an hour and a half, right? Don't blame me. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Now it's time to jump into the review, which I don't really do many gear reviews here on the channel, but this has been a video that I've wanted to make for quite a long time. In fact, I wanted to make it in 2021 to be a 2022 video, and now it's February in 2022. So, with no further ado, is the DJI 2 worth it? So, the DJI 2, my first ever drone that I've ever owned. And it took me a long time to actually jump into this market just because I didn't know what drone exactly to get. And I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're probably in the same position. You're probably thinking, is the DJI Mini 2 worth it in 2022? And I'm gonna answer that question today. Technically. And by technically, I don't mean I'm gonna give you the specs, because I will give you the specs, but I'm also gonna give you use case scenario, which I think actually is the most important thing. And I think it's something that I didn't really get answered when I was out there looking for the drone that I wanna buy. And the reason why I'm gonna do that isn't because I wanna show you, the big specs and all that. Are you gonna use it as much as you think you're gonna use it, and what exactly are you gonna use it for? And this is coming from somebody who's a filmmaker. So, I want to use it both professionally in my films and just when I'm traveling, I guess. So coming in at 249 grams, which is a big deal. I think it's probably the most important part. Legal sounds boring, but the reason why it's so important. So because the drone weighs 249 grams, means that you can basically use it anywhere. And that was one of the big things that I was looking into, and the reason why I eventually went with this drone. Because it doesn't have the best camera, and it doesn't have, all the fancy gadgets that the newer ones have, 249 grams is the reason why you are going to want to consider this drone. So whether you're wanting to do this professionally, whether you're wanting to do this just for fun, or whether you're wanting to do this to make films with, that is going to be the single thing that is going to define whether you're going to get this drone or not. And the reason is because if a drone weighs over 250 grams, you have to legally do this kind of air course, and you've got to pay all these this learning training or whatever to be able to use it under certain circumstances. And you can't legally still fly a larger drone in your back garden or at the park or out in a certain spot because it's too heavy. So what DJI have done is they've created a fantastic little beast to hop over all those issues. Yeah, hop over. Whee. And that means you can use this drone wherever you want. Whether you're in the park, whether you're in a certain other location, there's not a lot of things stopping this drone from flying. All you're gonna need is a Fly ID, which you just do, and it's like £9 and it's easy. It's literally nothing. But that means you can use the drone wherever you want. Abiding by local authority rules, you can use it wherever. And that was the biggest thing for me. First of all, before I jump to the larger drones and make this a kind of, standout part of my both business and my films, I wanted to know exactly how to fly the thing, exactly the rules and regulations in it, which are the boring parts, and I still kind of don't get a lot of them. And I wanted to just be able to make things with it. And that's exactly the #1 reason why I'm gonna recommend this drone for you. Flying a drone is a bit scary at start. I'm sure the people who took their drone up for the first time experienced the same issue of clam hands and the fear of just smashing into something or even losing it. You're not gonna be as terrified. If you've got, a drone that's over £1,000 flying that around at 35 miles an hour, which is its top speed, you are gonna be terrified to even do any basic maneuvers with it. And your training will kind of stint because you'll be too scared to pull off certain amazing sequences. And so that's why I recommend the DJI Mini 2 to be your first drone. But I'm gonna go into more points about it. Why it's so good. And in some sections, why it's not that good. So as I was saying, there are give and takes. It's a roundabout. So the payoff you get with the 249 grams, you also get the payoff with the camera, with the sensors, with some of the abilities. And okay, it didn't sound like I'm selling it very well right now, does it? But just hold right up. Hold right up. Let me just tell you what. It still shoots 4K. It still shoots 60 frames a second. It still flies pretty damn fast. It can keep up with your car and it can do some really cool things. And it's not big, it's actually tiny. You can slide it into your pocket, pull it back out, whack it in the air within 2 seconds. There's no, put it in your bag and then doing this and then doing that whole bloody thing. I'm gonna be totally honest. A lot of the time when me and my girlfriend are traveling or anything, sometimes I don't even take my camera. I just take the drone, whack that in my pocket, and just use that because it's fantastic. Another downside is that it only has 2 sensors on the bottom, meaning when the only place it's going to stop you from hitting is down. It will hit the front. And as you saw from the film, if you watch the film, it did actually hit into some branches, but that's also something quite interesting as well. So the technology, when you think you're gonna smack this into a tree, it's not always just gonna give up and go, but it is actually, it's actually really surprising, to be honest. It kept itself up. I smacked into about 3 trees and tree branches, and it did topple. I thought it was going, but it kept itself up and it never actually hit the floor, so that's pretty cool. So it does use a micro SD card. The DJI app is actually pretty good, and you can sync it straight to your phone, so all of your shots and all of your recordings go straight to your phone, which is always a bonus. And with 31 minutes of flight time, I think at first I was a bit worried about that not being enough, and in some cases I was worried about that not being enough, and they aren't cheap. So the one thing I would actually tell people to do is get the Fly More package. You won't regret it. It's only a little bit extra, but then you get the 3 batteries with it and the charger and stuff like that. See, I had to buy the second battery from Argos, and that ended up costing me a little bit more than what the Fly More kit would be. So that's always fun. Another staple is the the controller. So because this is my first drone, I didn't actually know about all the controller shaboggle that everybody was complaining about when the older versions of the drone actually released, as they had a different sort of controller which people actually seemingly didn't like. But this is a good controller. It feels great. It's solid and it does it. There's only one problem with it, and I think I don't see people really talking about this thing. As somebody that didn't experience the old issue, so I could be wrong. The one downside to this controller that apparently is much better than the old ones is the fact that it's freaking massive. This I can whack in my pocket. The controller is bigger than the bloody drone, so you get what I mean. You can slap that in your pocket just about. This thing makes you look like you're happy to see you. But it does pack a lot of punch. It feels great. It also charges your phone. And what I would recommend is don't have a massive phone. It does have a certain extent how far it can reach. My Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra will not really fit in with the case. It will tear the case out of it. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good. So the drone has 3 modes. It has a normal, Cine, and Sport. Cine is slow and gets you those slow moving shots. Sport is, as you say, fast as boy. and normal is just the normal mode. So, okay, there is another downside. The downside is if you're trying to shoot video outside that isn't in an overcast day, you will have to buy these filters, these ND filters. You'll have to. There's no going around it. Photo mode, you're all right, but when it comes to video, you really cannot use video outside on anything of a nice day, which here in the UK is far and in between, without these things, because you'll have choppy, not smooth video. You have to really stay at a 1/50 shutter speed and as low as ISO as you can. And by using these ND filters, they're the only thing that actually make it possible. So always consider that. If you wanted to do video, or if you don't care about video, then don't worry about this. But if you do care about video, you do need these. The ones that I got were the Freewell. There is one bit of a downside with the ND filters, and that is if you don't attach them just right, then your gimbal's gonna start freaking out and going a bit crazy. It's an issue that I've had from the start with the ND filters, which actually drive me nuts. But this little man absolutely packs a punch. You can use this in every single scenario. I've used it for travel videos, I've used it for my own YouTube videos, and I've used it to shoot films with, and it works beautifully in every single way. Camera's good enough, the sensors are good enough, the controls are responsive and beautiful, and it goes up to like a couple of miles away. So you can send it wherever you want. It is quite loud. The sounds from the film probably aren't the least exaggerated part of it. Just scare some people, it's fine. It's fine. So, ladies and gentlemen, is the DJI Mini 2 worth it in 2022? I think for those who want to get into bigger drone usage and start their life and career off with a drone, 100%. The experience that you will gain using this drone is 1 to nothing. There is a new drone called the DJI Mini SC, which is out, which I haven't had my hands on, I haven't really looked into, but I know that it's cheaper than this one, which if you are looking to stick to even a lower budget, get the SC. But it's an absolute fantastic way of creating a bridge to get to those higher end drones, which is something that I'm definitely going to do. After using this drone for the past 6 months, I knew instantly that I wanted to get good with this one, make sure I'm not gonna crash it every 2 seconds, and then get a bigger one. It's DJI as well, that's a bonus, so it holds its value. You can easily sell this on after you've used it and want to upgrade, and it will still hold its price. So ladies and gentlemen, I know I put a little bit too much effort into this video. I don't normally, but I hope you enjoyed it. So if you enjoyed the film, or at least enjoyed the fact that I put so much effort into a bloody short film that was supposed to be a meme for the video, hit that like button and subscribe. It means so much. If you want to see more content like this to do with filmmaker, video editing, and reacting to weird online courses, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Again, hit it twice, no, 3 times, because when you do it twice, it'll unsubscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the absolute next one. It's a terrible idea. The dogs hate it. They absolutely hate it.
This video wasn't sponsored.